In 1900, sponge divers off a Greek island pulled fragments of corroded bronze from a Roman-era shipwreck. Inside those fragments, 37 interlocking gears of extraordinary precision. It could predict solar and lunar eclipses, track the positions of planets, calculate the dates of the Olympic Games, and display the Metonic astronomical cycle. It is 2,000 years old. Nothing like it would be built again for 1,400 years.
The Antikythera Mechanism is, without exaggeration, an impossible artifact. I mean, it really just shouldn't exist, and yet, here it is. Just think about the sheer, massive technological gap it represents. We are talking about 37 incredibly precise interlocking gears acting as a fully functional analog computer built 2 millennia ago. The fact that nothing like this would appear anywhere on Earth for another 1,400 years, it leaves archaeologists, historians, and even modern mechanical engineers completely astounded. It is quite literally a piece of the future trapped in the ancient past. It completely shatters our standard understanding of how technology progresses, proving for sure that the ancient Greeks possessed a level of mechanical mastery that honestly borders on science fiction.
Okay, let's dive into exactly how we found this absolute miracle of engineering. Picture this. It's the spring of 1900. A severe storm blows a crew of Greek sponge divers way off their planned course, forcing them to take shelter near the tiny island of Antikythera. Well, when the storm finally broke, they decided to dive the unfamiliar waters. Now, this was incredibly dangerous work in heavy, cumbersome canvas suits. But what they found down there was a massive 1st century BC Roman merchant ship just scattered right across the seafloor. And the wreck was packed. We're talking luxury goods, stunning bronze and marble statues, exquisite glassware, and the whole shebang. Amidst all that obvious, shiny treasure, they pulled up this crusty, green, calcified lump of rock. For 2 whole years, it just sat in a museum courtyard, largely ignored. But by 1902, as the ancient wooden casing finally dried out and cracked open, archaeologists had this visceral, spine-tingling realization. Protruding right from the corroded rock was a perfectly formed, mathematically precise gear. Suddenly they realized this wasn't just ancient scrap.
On the outside, the main piece, what researchers called Fragment A, remained this fragile, heavily corroded lump of marine incrustation. Honestly, it looked like a rock you might skip across a pond. But as modern X-rays eventually revealed, there was an entirely different story hidden within. What was trapped inside that crust was astonishingly precise mathematical engineering. Beneath all the damage of the ocean, the device contained complex gearwork, originally packed into a wooden box about the size of a modern shoebox. So it wasn't some massive clunky temple installation. It was a highly portable, hand-cranked machine. By simply turning a little dial on the side, a user could literally bring the immense, terrifying scale of the heavens right down to the palm of their hand, simulating the cosmos at will. To truly understand what this machine did, we have to look at the astronomical cycles it was explicitly designed to track. One of the most important features on the back dial is the Metonic cycle. Now, this is a period of 19 tropical years, which turns out to be almost exactly equal to 235 Solodic lunar months. But why does this actually matter to you and me, or, more importantly, to a Greek farmer 2,000 years ago? Well, because for the ancient world, keeping track of time wasn't just about, hanging a paper calendar on the wall. A misaligned calendar meant planting crops at the completely wrong time. That led to failed harvests, which led to famine. Synchronizing the solar and lunar calendars was a vital societal survival tool. The mechanism allowed them to maintain absolute calendar accuracy, schedule agricultural activities perfectly, and fix the precise dates of vital religious festivals so as not to anger the gods. But its capabilities went way, way beyond just balancing a calendar. The mechanism was a comprehensive astronomical and social computer. It could predict lunar and solar eclipses using the Babylonian Saros cycle. And get this, it was so incredibly advanced, it would even warn the user what hour the eclipse would happen, the direction the shadow would cross, and even what color the eclipsed moon might be. It mechanically displayed the positions of the 5 planets known to antiquity straight across the zodiac. And then there is my absolute favorite detail. Amidst all these life-or-death cosmic predictions, they built in a specific dial just to track the 4-year cycle of the Pan-Hellenic Games. I mean, it is objectively fascinating and surprisingly human that right alongside predicting the terrifying color of a blood moon, they engineered a highly complex gear train just to make sure they didn't miss the ancient Olympics. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer mechanical genius of the device. Here we see the mathematical calibration of the zodiac dial ring translated directly into a physical gear mechanism. It uses what modern engineers call a pin and slot mechanism. Why is that mathematically brilliant? Because, from our perspective down here on Earth, planets and the moon don't seem to move at a constant speed, right? They appear to speed up, slow down, and sometimes even move backward in the night sky. To track this, the creators took the highly complex math of Babylonian astronomy and ancient Greek theories and engineered them directly into physical bronze. The pin and slot literally allows the gears to turn at variable speeds, perfectly mimicking that erratic celestial motion. They actually turned complex calculus into physical bronze teeth. It's unbelievable.
So, you might be wondering, how did we figure all this out if only a third of the original device even survived and the rest is lost to the sea? Well, let's walk through the modern scientific detective work that broke this case wide open. In 2005, researchers utilized a massive 15-year leap in technology, bringing in a custom-built 8-ton micro-focusing X-ray tomographer. This incredible machine allowed them to finally peer through the calcified stone in 3D and uncover the hidden gears inside without destroying the fragile artifact. Then, polynomial texture mapping, or PTM imaging, allowed us to read the microscopic, highly faded inscriptions on the bronze. Some of these letters were barely a millimeter tall. They essentially uncovered the device's instruction manual, which had been hiding in plain sight, completely lost for 2,000 years. All of this unbelievable data culminated in a massive 2021 breakthrough. A team at University College London created a digital reconstruction that finally matched all the physical and inscribed evidence. The result of that reconstruction is just staggering. You are looking at a precise model of the Antikythera Mechanism's central golden dial. Professor Tony Freeth, who led the UCL breakthrough, described it perfectly. He called it an impressive tour de force of ancient Greek brilliance. Can you imagine being a Roman citizen, turning a small crank, and watching the entire known universe, these little golden spheres acting as planets, interlocking rings mapping the zodiac, just rotate smoothly in the palm of your hand? It's a level of miniaturization that completely rewrites human history.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this incredible reconstruction actually sparked a massive scientific debate regarding the device's exact purpose and its daily functionality. Was this actually a functional, everyday tool or just a flawed, symbolic toy? Some researchers, like a team from the National University of Mar del Plata, ran computer simulations and argued it might have been the latter. They found that poor spacing between the triangular gear teeth could cause rapid and frequent blockages. This led them to suggest it was perhaps just a rich person's desk toy rather than a truly functional scientific instrument. But on the other side of the aisle, experts like Aristodes Voulgaris argue that these modern simulations are missing one giant, crucial factor: deformation reality.
Voulgaris hits the nail on the head here. Over 2 millennia sitting at the freezing bottom of the Aegean Sea, subjected to immense water pressure, the bronze didn't just sit perfectly still. It actively turned into a highly brittle, crystallized mineral called atacamite. It warped, it cracked, it shrank. Any modern micrometer measurements of these current flaws simply cannot definitively prove the computer didn't work smoothly when it was newly forged. The immense time, unparalleled know-how, and massive resources required to manufacture the Antikythera Mechanism heavily point to it being a serious, highly sophisticated, and perfectly reliable instrument of science.
Which brings us to the most unsettling part of this entire explainer, and it's encapsulated in this staggering number: 1,400. That is the profound technology gap this mechanism represents. Stop and really think about what 1,400 years actually means. After the ship carrying this device sank, this level of mechanical complexity, featuring epicyclic gears, differential gears, and those elaborate variable speed pin and slot systems, completely vanished from the Earth. Humanity went through the entirety of the Roman Empire's collapse. We went through the entirety of the Dark Ages. Entire empires rose, conquered the known world, and fell to dust, all without anyone, anywhere, possessing this level of mechanical engineering. It wouldn't be seen again until the complex mechanical cathedral clocks of 13th century Europe. Finding the Antikythera Mechanism in a 1st century BC shipwreck is literally the equivalent of archaeologists digging up a medieval castle in France and finding a fully functional smartphone buried in the stone floor. For 14 centuries, this mastery was just gone.
So the crucial point is that the Antikythera Mechanism represents a massive missing chapter in the story of human intelligence, and it forces us to ask some terrifyingly exciting questions. Where did this advanced mechanical knowledge go? Was this an isolated prototype built by a singular, absolute genius? You know, someone in the tradition of Archimedes, who historical texts claim actually built incredible mechanical spheres. Or was this actually a mass-produced device? Was it standard issue for wealthy administrators and navigators to manage ancient societies? Because if it was mass-produced, it means other ancient computational devices of mind-bending complexity might still remain hidden right now, buried in the mud in unexcavated shipwrecks across the Mediterranean.
It leaves us marveling at the sheer, undeniable brilliance of antiquity, but also heavily pondering the extreme fragility of human progress. We kind of just like to think of technological advancement as this straight line curving constantly upward, but the Antikythera mechanism proves that isn't true at all. A civilization reached a peak of mechanical engineering, effectively inventing the analog computer, and then they simply forgot how to do it. The knowledge vanished, resting silently at the bottom of the Aegean Sea until a lost crew of sponge divers stumbled upon it by pure chance. What do you think happened to the tradition of mechanical computation after the Antikythera mechanism? And what else might we be missing?